What do you think is more dangerous, overspending or underspending?
From my fear point, it's underspending, because the thing I'm worried about is wasting my life. Because if I think for particularly you guys, right? Like, you have no risk. If I take all your money away from you guys now, you're gonna make it back, right? You're gonna go get a job. You'll have a well-paying job. You're gonna have a great life. I can vaporize your money right now, and you're still gonna have a successful life. You have zero risk. Zero. You guys are intelligent people with great skill sets, right? Subject verb agreement. You think through things. You are blessed with mental acuity. You have zero risk. Zero.
It's so funny. I see us have a lot of risk.
I know. You live in fear.
Yeah.
You get there's monsters.
The opposite of that.
You're a monsters under the bed type of guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have monsters under bed. But like, I look at you guys, I'm like, these guys.
I was even telling Jack, I'm like, yo, Jack, we should prepare for like the podcast maybe not doing as well because of what's happening in the markets. And I'm like, the last time these have happened, like we ended up losing out on quite a few contracts.
It might happen. It might happen. You might lose it all. I'm just saying, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I'll come to you in 10 years and I'll be like, did it matter? But like, no, we figured this out. I got a job here. I got whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you're easily to employ and you're also easy to start another business, whichever path you choose. The safe route, working for somebody else, or the wild adventurous side of an entrepreneur. And I think entrepreneurs are like, holy shit, I can die. The business can die. You won't.
In fairness, here's another thing, is that some people just have differences in terms of where they get their enjoyment from in terms of expense. Like Graham, the things that he likes in his life tend to be a little bit more on the pricey side. Like he wanted an aquarium, and kudos to him for doing this, but he spent a lot of money on this aquarium. He wants experiences, for example, once again, not trying to say the group, but like he took this group out, the Index, on this very lavish trip.
Yeah, 40 grand.
It was amazing.
Yeah, he dropped 40 grand for 2 days on this group that he has.
Yeah.
And for him, like, that is like what he wants to be doing. For me, pickleball. And the cost is maybe $300 a year. And that like, so it's easier for me to have, I don't see money and happiness in the same sort of thing. Whereas other people, their money is directly tied to their, like, some people are also more materialistic. Like Graham genuinely does get happiness, like the guy that has that nice cars in the group,
right.
Like having nice cars and having nice watches and this and that.
I would say to a certain degree, I like collecting things. I'm a
said,
collector.
So you have zero risk. Like, you should be taking maximum risk, right? Like, and he has like a little bit of risk, but like, what you're young, you're still going to discover things that you like. You didn't know pickleball existed 4 years ago.
True.
Right? So now you're like, it's pickleball, right? But 4 years from now, it's going to be the other thing, right?
It's always going to be pickleball.
Now he's like, no, it's pickleball. I love her. She is my best. It's always going to be pickleball. But you're going to discover other things that you like. Maybe pickleball will always be number one, right? But there'll be other things that drive your fulfillment, just like he will as well, because life is discovery. And the more you live it, the more you'll discover and the more you learn. It's a very sad, sad, sad world if you discovered it all.
So to be intentional about how you should be spending your resources, time, money, etc., mental energy, what do you think? You just read certain books? Do you meditate? Do you write down and just sit in a
wow. Like, I think what we went over, like, what are the first steps is like, be aware of what you die, break your life off into periods. I call them time bucketing, right? And then think about the experiences you want, but realize like you are going to discover what you like. Like, you didn't know your wife at one point, right? Or your girlfriend or pickleball or whatever. Like, you discovered these things and realize like that is life, right? Life is going to be discovery. And I think like, my belief is having a fulfilling life is continual discovery. And so you're going to be out there. You didn't know you wanted to do a podcast. You didn't know you wanted to have this guest. You didn't know you liked the book Die with Zero. Do you like it? I hope you like it. Anyway, like, so like, just remember that, like, that is what's going to be driving it. Like, there's a, you ever hear the thing, like, would you rather be the king of England in 15 something or like lower middle class or poor today?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think the answer is obvious, poor today. Right. And people cite reasons, different reasons. Right. But I think one of the main reasons is the speed of travel. The average poor person could live the entire life of the king in 2 months, right? They could take a bus to Florida and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could probably buy a Super Saver ticket on Southwest and go, have an adventure and go around, which would take a lifetime for a king, right? And on the way, he did this, and he went to this concert, and he did that, and then he saw a show and whatever. King can do that, right? Aside from that, he had straw for toilet paper and would die of like simple things or whatever. Forget all that. Just the speed of travel, which allows you to move through this world and experience more, right? Allows you to condense more, right?
What period of time in your life has been the best so far?
Now. It's always now. But I think, I was the good old days. Like I think courting my current wife and the engagement and my daughters, now one just turned 21, one just turned 18. It seems like it's the best time, right? But I've been grateful for every period. Like sometimes I'll go back and be like, oh, those were the greatest times in high school, hang out, we had no money, etc. Like being busted in New York City trying to make it was like an amazing time in my life. But it was filled with activities that were meant for that period that don't really transfer, like running around and spending money and being broke and trying to make it in New York City and chasing girls don't fit into this time period of my life. But it was a great time. It was a great time being young and single in New York, right?
And how do you balance this book with raising your daughters and making sure they don't grow up spoiled, but they appreciate the work and sacrifice that went into this, but also enjoying life?
It's the same thing. Like my message, the physics that govern my body are the same physics that govern my daughter's body, right? Like they will grow, they will reach mental maturity, calculation power at 28. They will reach physical maturity at 33. They will plateau and decline. And so, I want them to go out and what resources they have, their health, wealth, and time, right? And whatever resources I will give them, right? Which would be part of their wealth, to use that to drive their fulfillment. My goal is to give them the value system and the answers to help them navigate the world, and then to let them go out and make their own mistakes, right? Like I've made millions and millions of mistakes. I will continue to do that. I'm a mistake-making machine. But that's part of the ride.
Do you think there's an amount of money that you could give them that might stifle some of their creativity?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
It's funny because I was talking to a friend. He kind of shifted my view a little bit. He's like, "Look, our kids, they want an iPad, they get an iPad. We didn't have an iPad. Like, even if we were well off, like we necessity was part and struggle was part of the ingredients that made us, right? It wasn't like the only ingredient, but it was part of the ingredient. And they are missing, in many ways, not completely, that ingredient, right? That gave us like whatever advantage, right? Some advantage. And so, my friend is like, you have to pay for that. You have to cover that because you robbed them of the struggle, right? And you don't mean to rob them, but like, if you made it, like you don't want to it's like, oh, I don't want to live a busted life. What was the purpose of making it? Like I could have lived a simpler life, and I could have made that choice. I could have said, you know what, we live on a farm. We're going to grow our own potatoes. We're going to live a simple life or whatever. And my kids will be like, okay, I have this grit and necessity. And if I want an iPad, I got to go hustle. And then if I want these things, I got to go hustle. And they would have that as part of their, repertoire at a greater index than what they have now. And they can go out and make it. And I've robbed them of that because I didn't want to go live on a farm. I'm using extreme examples, right? But you get the idea. And so if I keep giving them money, they would lose it all, right? You know what I mean? They would lose it completely, right? Like not have that necessity. And I think it's part of the ingredient of navigating the world.
And how do you balance giving to your children versus giving to yourself?
I pick an amount that I'm going to give them. I don't know what like in the book, I talk about when you should be giving the inheritance to the kids and not make it a bequest, which is absurd, but not the amount, right? It could be zero. It could be $1 zillion. I think that's very personal. But for me, the thing is you need to come up with a number. So you're not just using that excuse of, oh, it's just going to go to my kids when I die and they're 60, which is absurd. It's just an absurd thing. They're not kids then, right? Like more than 2/3 of their life has passed them by, right? And their ability to enjoy that money has declined, et cetera. You're giving them money at the wrong time, and it's completely not thought out. It's not deliberate. It's random. It's silly. What you should do is figure out what you want to give them, and then spend all your money down till you die. And then they have their money. It's protected. You get sued. You know what I mean? It doesn't take that money. You do something stupid and you lose all your money. Their money is protected. It's separate. It's their money. It doesn't mean they get to go spend it when they're 19 or 20. It's in a trust and it turns over to them when it turns over to them. Right. And if you don't have all the money made, you just put money in yearly until it gets there. Right. If there's some uncertainty, but there's ways to do it. But the whole book is about living off autopilot and being deliberate and thinking these things through, not just be like, oh, when I die, my money will go to my kids. Right. That worked when, a couple hundred years ago where you were a farmer, your kids were a farmer, kids were going to be a farmer, et cetera. Right. So like you died, they take over the farm. They do the same thing. And he takes over the farm, or he's a blacksmith. My son's a blacksmith. There'll always be a blacksmith. We're the Smiths. Right. Like that's not how it works nowadays. Right.